Imagine a world where you're known as the king, not just for your talent, but also for your legendary lifestyle. Gold-plated cars, lavish mansions, and an estate that's become a pilgrimage site for millions. But how much wealth did Elvis Presley really have? How rich was the man who revolutionized music, fashion, and pop culture? And what happened to his fortune after his untimely death? Let's find out. Elvis Aaron Presley was born in a two-room house in Tupelo, Mississippi on January 8, 1935. His family wasn't wealthy, and Elvis grew up in modest conditions. But all of that changed dramatically in 1954 when he recorded That's All Right with Sun Records. Elvis quickly became a national sensation, earning him a record deal with RCA Victor in 1955. By the late 1950s, Elvis was pulling in serious money from record sales, concert performances, and TV appearances. For instance, did you know he earned $50,000 for his 1956 appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show? An unbelievable sum for the time. But that's not all. It was also during this period that Elvis transitioned into acting, starring in movies like Love Me Tender and Jailhouse Rock. Between 1956 and 1969, he starred in 31 feature films. His acting career was a critical piece of the puzzle when it came to building his fortune. Over his film career, Elvis earned around $4.3 million, equivalent to about $40 million today, from acting alone. However, his real financial success came from a combination of royalties, merchandise, and live performances. One of the key figures in Elvis's financial story is Colonel Tom Parker, his manager. While Parker was instrumental in launching and managing Elvis's career, his business dealings have been criticized for being one-sided. Parker took an astonishing 50% of Elvis's earnings, a much higher percentage than the standard 10 to 20% cut that most managers receive. Parker's agreement significantly diminished Elvis's net worth. Had Elvis worked with a different manager, his wealth might have been considerably higher. Despite this having severely impacted Elvis's net worth, he was still making enormous sums of money. But as much as Elvis was earning, he was spending too. His spending habits would soon become as legendary as his voice. If there's one thing Elvis was known for besides his music, it was his extravagant lifestyle. He wasn't shy about spending his fortune on the finer things in life. His most famous purchase was Graceland, a 14-acre estate in Memphis that he bought in 1957 for $102,500, around $1 million today. Graceland was more than just a home. It was a symbol of Elvis's success and became the heart of his personal and professional life. But did his lavish spending stop there? No, Graceland was just the beginning. Elvis's car collection was the stuff of legend. He famously loved Cadillacs and is said to have owned over 200 in his lifetime. He was also known for giving them away to friends, family, and even strangers. One of his most famous purchases was a 1956 pink Cadillac, which he bought for his mother. Elvis also had a private jet, the Lisa Marie, which he bought for $250,000 in 1975, over $1 million today. Elvis's live performances were a major source of his income. Throughout the 1960s, he focused more on movies, but in 1968, he made his comeback with the famous 68 Comeback Special. This re-energized his career, and soon after, he began a grueling touring schedule that would last until his death in 1977. During the 1970s, Elvis performed regularly in Las Vegas, earning $125,000 per week for his residency at the International Hotel. He was also one of the first performers to sell out stadiums across the U.S., and by the mid-1970s, his concerts were bringing in millions. In fact, during his final years, he was reportedly earning up to $1 million per performance. Can you imagine being paid that much back then? However, despite these enormous earnings, Elvis's financial situation was not as stable as it appeared. His lavish spending, coupled with his management's hefty cut, meant that he was not as wealthy as one might expect for someone of his fame and success. How often do we think about the emotional toll that wealth and fame can take on a person? Elvis's generosity is well documented, but that generosity sometimes masked deeper personal struggles. His excessive spending habits and lavish lifestyle were, in some ways, an attempt to cope with the loneliness and isolation that often accompany fame at such an astronomical level. As his wealth grew, so did the expectations of those around him. Elvis was constantly surrounded by an entourage, known as the Memphis Mafia, who lived off his fortune and, at times, took advantage of his kindness. It's been said that Elvis often felt trapped by his fame and the people who depended on him financially. His wealth may have bought material comforts, but it also came with emotional challenges that eventually contributed to his decline. When Elvis died on August 16, 1977, his estate was valued at $5 million. For someone as famous as him, doesn't that number seem shockingly low? But the truth is that by the time of his death, Elvis's wealth had been heavily diminished due to his extravagant spending and mismanagement of his finances. Colonel Tom Parker's 50% cut, combined with Elvis's luxurious lifestyle and the high cost of maintaining Graceland, left him with far less than what he had earned over his career. It's estimated that Elvis made around $100 million during his lifetime, which would be equivalent to nearly $400 million today. However, much of that fortune had been spent or mismanaged by the time of his death. The IRS also took a significant portion of his estate in taxes, further reducing the amount left for his heirs. While Elvis may not have left behind a massive fortune at the time of his death, his estate has grown significantly in value in the decades since. A large part of this is due to the efforts of his ex-wife, Priscilla Presley, who took control of the estate after Elvis's death to manage it on behalf of their daughter, Lisa Marie Presley. Priscilla made the decision to open Graceland to the public in 1982, turning it into one of the most visited tourist attractions in the U.S. This move transformed Elvis's estate from a dwindling fortune into a financial powerhouse. Graceland generates millions of dollars in revenue each year, attracting over 500,000 visitors annually. So, how rich was Elvis? While his personal wealth was far less than one might expect during his lifetime, the legacy he left behind has made him one of the most profitable stars in history. Elvis may have spent much of his fortune, but his music, image, and Graceland have ensured that his estate continues to thrive. Today, Elvis is not just remembered as the king of rock and roll, but as a cultural icon whose wealth, in both fame and fortune, lives on. But what do you think? Could Elvis have managed his money better, or was he simply a product of his time? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Tales of Titans for more fascinating stories of the greatest figures in history. Thanks for watching.